This lesson describes a program that draws a simple square in the window and allows you to use the mouse to move the square to a different location. The mover class is a frame that's used to display a mover canvas object. The object we're going to move around the window is a square that's 20 pixels on a side. This Boolean value is set to indicate when the square is being moved. These two values are the current location of the square. These special offset values are used so we can position the square when we put it in its new location. I'll show you how they work in just a minute. The constructor sets the size of the window and makes this object its own mouse listener. Now, the only methods in the mouse listener interface that we're interested in for this class are mouse pressed and mouse released. But the others must be present, so they're included here, but they don't do anything. When the mouse button is pressed, the first thing we need to find out is whether or not it was pressed inside the square. If the mouse X is less than the square X, or the mouse X is greater than the square X plus the side, then it was pressed outside the square and we don't do anything. The same thing is done for the Y value. If the mouse pointer is above the square or below the square, nothing's to be done and we just return. If, on the other hand, the button was pressed with the mouse pointer inside the square, we're going to start moving it. To start with, we need to record the relative position of the pointer to the XY position of the square. This is so we know how to place it at the end of the move. For example, if the mouse pointer is on the upper left-hand corner of the square that's being moved, it needs to be dropped in its new location with the pointer in the upper left-hand corner. Now, to do this, we need to know exactly where the mouse is in relation to the upper left-hand corner of the square. The offset values are stored in X offset and Y offset, and then finally we set the moving flag to true to indicate the square is being moved. If the mouse is moving, that is, if the button was pressed inside the square and has just been released, then moving is true, and the code inside this block is executed. A new location for the square is executed, taking the offsets into mind, and it's no longer being moved. A call is made to repaint to make the square appear in its new location. Now, this is a very simple paint method. It paints the background of the window cyan and draws the black square at its current location. Here's how it works. There are a couple of things that are not right here. First, we don't see the square move. It just appears wherever the mouse happens to let go of the button. Also, you can move the mouse completely outside of the window, and we lose the square. The only way to get it back is to expand the window to include the space where the square was dropped. There are solutions to these problems, and we look at a couple of them in the upcoming lessons.